Crafty friend, it's me, Justine Dvorak. Today I'm going to use this Bristol Smooth cardstock and this stencil called Uncharted Waters from Dawn Wholesale and Spellbinders from her collection called Fair Winds, and I am so excited. I've been using this so much. My fingers are inky, my workstation is inky. I've been inking it up. If you can tell by my stamp wheel, it is stained like no other. I'm going to start with Shooting Star and just some blending brushes, and start with a little bit of yellow and have this be where my sun is going to set. Now this card is going to be kind of a sunsetty, dreamy look, so that is the vibe I'm going for this. I love sunsets or sunrises. I think they're super dreamy and pretty, and everyone is different just like us, so let's go for it. I'm using Prom Queen Simon Hurley's ink again, and we'll just blend that in, and that will make an orange with the yellow and pink. So we're going to have a little rainbow moment going here. Ooh, I just love watching this as it's sped up too, because it's kind of satisfying to look. And for this paper to go from white to this end result is pretty fun. So you do not have to be an expert at blending or anything to do this. This is not too hard, I would say. This is probably like medium level hard for blending. So I'm going to start with Crown Me as well and just kind of continue that down throughout. And you just kind of have to trust the process on this, but I'm telling you, the paper matters when you're using ink and you're blending. So that's why I kind of showed you that yellow Bristol paper at the beginning. That makes it so forgiving. The ink has a chance to kind of like dance around on the paper and blend nicely with others. So it's not as difficult to make projects look really good when you have good paper. It's kind of like glimmering. When you glimmer and you have bumpy paper, you're probably not going to get a good result. It's kind of like that with stenciling and ink blending. You want it to be super smooth. I just took my pink brush there and kind of blended the line out. And this is just stencil number 1. I think there are 5 or 6, so we'll just keep moving along. That stamp wheel is super sticky. That is something I definitely recommend for ink blending. Not really just the stamp wheel. You don't need the stamp wheel, but have some kind of a sticky mat on the bottom, especially for cards like this where it's the full frame is the picture. So, oh goodness, getting all the messages. So you don't want to have tape lines or anything like that for this. And be careful, because ink will get on your fingers, so be careful where you put your hands. Alright, I'm going to make these little rocks here. So I'm going to first use Pumice Stone from Distress Ink, and I'll just smush that all around. This is the lightest color on the rocks. That will be perfect for kind of getting the base of the rocks. I'm going to end up using a few different colors for them. I feel like I've said the rocks like 4 times. For the rocks. And it will just give everything a nice little layer. And then I just took the remnants of the brush, whatever I had left over, and just rubbed that on the little clouds there, and then just took the remnants of the yellow and the pink as well. Now when I say remnants, I mean I haven't gone back to my ink pad and smushed a whole bunch of ink. It's just whatever remains on my brush. Pardon my grandfather clock. It is chiming away. Alright, now for the clouds, I'm going to line up everything kind of at the horizon, I'd say. So the horizon is kind of where the sun is rising or setting there, and you can see this stencil is bigger than an A2 size, so it has options to use for like square cards or just kind of any different size. You could do a slim line. It just kind of depends on your preference. something I like to use is my little pokey tool, and I like using that because it can hold down this cloud piece that is kind of darting out into my card area, but I don't want to put my finger there because that could interact with the ink and make a mistake. So I just checked how everything was looking with the bottom there. I'm going to overblend my yellow on the top and make it bigger than the bottom, because when I go in with my pink, that yellow area will shrink down and I'll have yellow, orange, pink. So I just wanted to make sure it was nice and big and kind of line it up with the orange on the bottom. Then I'm going to go in with Prom Queen again, which is the pink color, and hold that little cloud down. Now, if you're watching this and going, this is not beginner, what the heck? Yeah, it's okay. Now, I would challenge you to try it first. And I don't mean to say like, this is beginner or medium or whatever, and then have you feel discouraged, because that is not my goal here. I'm sharing this for you to be inspired and maybe learn a new technique. So this is not the first time I've ever ink blended. This is not even the first time I've used this stencil. This is probably, I think, my 4th or 5th time I've used this stencil. And practice makes better. So it's not gonna be perfect because it's card making and it does not need to be perfect. So play around, have fun, use inks that are already in your stash, especially with the wallet situation. If you want to use your money on buying other things, you can totally do that. So save a little dough and use the inks you got. Sorry, the camera angle is a little different than my normal videos, by the way, because my iPad, for whatever reason, was not cooperating at all. So I'm actually filming this on my very old phone, and for whatever reason, it ended up working out. So that's why the angle is a little different here today. Hopefully it's all good in HUD, but you can see how easy peasy it is to use that little tool, that little pointy tool. I love that little tool. When I first got it, I thought, whoa, this is dangerous and there's no way I'm ever going to use that side. But never say never, right? I'm going to just pounce this around a little bit more and blend it up. And hopefully things are kind of matching. You can kind of see through the stencil on the bottom. And I was kind of going for a reflection on the water look here. So I'm hoping that everything works out. And I am going to make kind of a big mistake coming up here. So stay tuned to watch me fix the mistake. You can kind of see the sunset is, it's mirroring itself. Okay, now for the land. For the land, I'm going to use a green and a brown of inks, and then I'm going to add another layer to the rocks. So for the land, apparently for the rocks I didn't show the ink, but it was probably, I don't remember the color I used, I'm sorry, but it was probably just a gray, a distress ink gray, and then I'm going to use rustic wilderness for the land. A little trick with these tiny cubes is to put the ink pad right on top of the grip mat if it fits, because it does not move around when you go to get more ink. A little tipperoo for you. Then once I have a ton of green kind of packed in there, I'm going to just take my little cloth that I keep in my craft room and wipe down my stencil, and then go in with Vintage Photo on top of the land area, because I didn't want my land to be like this bright green. I wanted it to be a little more brown and earthy, so that's why I chose to kind of layer it up. But I definitely didn't want it just to be brown, so I went with like a green brown. Oh, apparently I'm going to do this black ink first. Oh, that's what I was telling you. I'm so sorry. Before, when I did the rocks, I used my black brush and just wiped down the rocks. I didn't put completely black on there, but it was just whatever was remnant on there. Now, I said before vintage photo because that is my go-to brown, but I guess I use gathered twigs here first and see how I can kind of pack that ink on and make a green brown. Alright, we'll do a little peel and reveal. Ta-da, there's the land. It's really coming together here. And I really do like the finished product, so stay tuned. I will be showing you a mistake on the next layer of my stencil. I made kind of a big oops. So prepare yourself. So on this, again, I'm going to grab Hickory Smoke and finish off my rocks. I grabbed a whole bunch of these little ink cubes back in the day, and I actually thought I was buying Distress Oxide little cubes, which I don't think they even make. So I bought them not really knowing what I was buying. This was years and years ago, and they still work. And I'm so glad that I did, because now I have these little color options in my craft room for coloring and ink blending. Okay, now I'm going to take Memento Black ink. I think I decided not to use that. No, I did. Yep. Memento Black ink for the bottom part of the hill. I went in with this over the rocks too, just to darken it up. But on the bottom hill, this is going to be the part that's really in the most shadow from the light source, which is the sun in this situation. So it should be the darkest, as well as little birds that I'm going to add at the end. But here is where I made my biggest mistake. I did not line up the horizon line with the bottom of my land. You can kind of see a sliver, just a sliver of yellow above that land line. Ugh, it's fine because I fixed it and it looks fine at the end, but I digress. I used a black here for the birds, and then for the water kind of ripples that are coming off of the rocks, just to give a little texture and dimension to the rock area. And then I'm going to go in again with Crown Me, that purple color, and just go kind of ever so slightly on the edges of the big ripple areas and just kind of shade it a little. I don't want to get rid of my yellow. I certainly don't want to make brown with yellow, and purple will make brown, so I had to be kind of careful there. They're opposite on the color wheel, so they always will make brown. And then I did a little purple over there too, because why not? Okay, and then I wiped off any black ink that I might have gotten on my purple brush. And now's the moment where I realized, oh no, I made a mistake. I'm going to put my stencil up a little higher and just kind of hope that I can cover up any mistake there. And I realized in my hastiness to cover it up, I needed to line up that right long edge there with the rock on the bottom. And the only way to do that and not mess it up is to actually use the edge of the stencil here, and then use the edge of another stencil like so, and just kind of wipe it in to the center like so. And then I realized, oh no, you're getting the rock purple. So then I grabbed a third stencil and tried to kind of cover it, even though it should have been at an angle. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Now that looks really harsh and dramatic right now on camera, but it did dry down a little bit and it looks nice now, I think, in my opinion. So to finish off these really pretty cards, I like adding the little birds on the top, but I think a sentiment on some of these cards isn't even needed. So I am going to finish off a couple of these cards and show you pictures at the end here of what I've made and what it looks like. But you tell me, does it need a sentiment or not? I don't know. I feel like this could be used for lots of different things like sympathy or a happy hello. It really doesn't matter the occasion, but you can use it for a whole bunch of things. And you could even make daylight style cards and have them be a little more of the blues and the grays. So there's options with this stencil, and I love this collection. So way to go, Dawn, and way to go, Spellbinders. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested in more from this collection, I actually did a light up card with her collection as well. And I did a pop-up from her collection as well. So I used an old die in my collection that was a pop-up and made 2 Father's Day projects. So if you're interested in seeing those, check out the last video I posted on my channel. I think that should have gone up on Monday the 10th. So yep, so 3 days ago. Be sure to check that out if you're interested. It's not as hard as it looks to add lights to your cards. So you'll see in the video. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, crafty friend.